History of my oldest ancestors of whom I am very proud descend. August 27, 1182, dies Mary of Poitiers, my 28th grandmother, for times my grandmother, Princess of Antioch, Byzantine Empress consort, wife of the Emperor of Constantinople Manuel I Komnenos, great-grandmother of Queen Saint Elizabeth, wife of Dom Dinis, King of Portugal. Maria de Poitiers or Antioch, Princess of Antioch, Byzantine Empress consort, born in Antioch in 1145 and died in Constantinople on August 27, 1182, was the daughter of Raymond of Poitiers and Constance de Hauteville, Princess of Antioch, paternal granddaughter of William IX, the Troubadour, Duke of Aquitaine, and maternal granddaughter of Bohemond II of Hauteville, Prince of Antioch, and Alice of Rethel, daughter of Baldwin I, King of Jerusalem. Mary of Poitiers, Princess of Antioch, was a Byzantine Empress consort, wife of Emperor Manuel I Komnenos, my 28th grandfather, for times my grandfather. Mary of Poitiers was the daughter of Constance de Hauteville, Princess of Antioch, and her first husband, Raymond of Poitiers. His only son was Alexio II Komnenos, who succeeded his father in 1180, and died 3 years later, at the age of 14. Marie of Poitiers was her son's regent from 1180 to 1182. History. In 1160, Mary's stepfather, the second husband of Constance de Hauteville, Reynaldo de Chatillon, my 28th grandfather, for times my grandfather, was arrested by Majaldine, the emir of Aleppo and ally of Noureddin. His mother claimed the principality of Antioch for herself, but the nobles supported Mary's brother, Bohemond. King Baldwin III of Jerusalem named him Prince Bohemond III of Antioch and appointed, as regent, the rich and worldly Aimery of Limoges, Latin Patriarch of Antioch, an old adversary of Reynaldo. Constance protested the decision, in Constantinople, at the court of the Byzantine Emperor Manuel I Komnenos, the Lord of Antioch. By the end of 1159, Manuel I Komnenos' wife, Irene, originally called Bertha of Salzburg, had died, and he wanted to marry a princess from one of the Crusader states. João Conto Stefano, the main dragoman, Teofalato, and the acolyte of the varieguard guard Basilio Camatero, were sent to Jerusalem to try to find an available princess, and 2 candidates appeared, Maria de Antioquia and Melisende de Tripoli, the latter, daughter of Count Raimondo II of Tripoli with Jerusalem today. Both were known for their beauty, but, according to João Sinamo, Maria was the most beautiful, tall and blonde, clearly showing her Norman ancestry. King Baldwin III suggested Melisende, and her brother, Count Raimondo III of Tripoli, began to accumulate a huge dowry, with gifts from Hodiana and her aunt, namesake, Queen Melisende. The ambassadors were not satisfied and postponed the wedding for more than a year, as they had apparently heard rumors about Hodiana's infidelity, which cast doubt on Melisende's legitimacy. Finally, Manuel I Komneno chose Maria. Count Raimondo was offended and, in retaliation, attacked Cyprus, under Byzantine control at the time. Meanwhile, an imperial embassy led by Alixo Briennio Komneno and the mayor of Constantinople, João Camatero, arrived in Antioch to negotiate the marriage. Maria embarked from the port of São Simeon directly to the capital, in September 1161, and the wedding was held in the Great Church, on December 24, 1161. 3 patriarchs performed the ceremony: Lucas Chrysoberges, from Constantinople, Sophronius III, Greek Patriarch Orthodox of Alexandria, and Athanasius I, Greek Orthodox Patriarch of Antioch. The wedding was celebrated with banquets, gifts from the church and horse races at the hippodrome for the people, and thus strengthened the ties between Antioch and the Byzantine Empire, and the position of Mary's mother, Constance, who was now regent in Antioch. According to Nicetas Choniates, Mary, she was like the lover of joy, the golden Aphrodite, the one in white armor and with the eyes of a bull, Hero, the one with the long neck and beautiful laconic ankle that the ancients deified for her beauty and all the other beauties whose countenances were preserved in the most important books and stories. For many years, Maria had no children. In 1166, she became pregnant for the first time, but lost a boy, which was considered a tragedy by the emperor and the people. 3 years later, Maria finally had a son, the future Emperor Alexio II Komnenos. He played an important role in the political and diplomatic life of Constantinople. Fluent in French, she was one of the few able to see through the double game of court interpreter Aaron Isakias, who was secretly advising Westerners not to overpay for the emperor's grace. As a result, Manuel I Comnenos ordered Aaron to be blinded. Widowhood. After the death of Manuel I Comnenos, in 1180, Maria officially became a nun, but, in reality, she acted as regent for the young Aleixo II, her son. Despite being a nun, she also had several suitors and ended up choosing another Aleixo Comneno, the Proto-Sebasto and Proto-Vestiario, a nephew of Manuel I Comneno, as an advisor and lover, which caused a scandal among the population. As a Westerner who favored Italian traders, Mary faced opposition from the Greeks, and her regency was widely considered incompetent. The leaders of the opposition were his stepdaughter, the Porphyrogenic Maria Comnena, and her husband, Caesar Rainier of Monferrato, even though he was a Latin. The Porphyrogenite Maria could be considered the legitimate heir, as she was Manuel's eldest daughter. Maria and Rainierio obtained the support of the Patriarch Theodosius I and used Santa Sophia as a base of operations. Aleixo, in turn, had the Patriarch arrested, which led to an open conflict on the streets of the capital. Execution. Manuel I Comneno's cousin, Andronikos Komnenos, who had been exiled during his reign, was invited back to court by the Porphyrogenita Maria and marched on the capital in 1182. He incited the population, which provoked the infamous massacre of the Latins, most of them Venetian and Genoese traders. After gaining control of the city, he ordered the arrest of the Porphyrogenita and Rainierio, while Empress Maria was arrested and confined in the monastery of São Dianes. The Empress tried to seek help from her brother-in-law, King Bela III of Hungary, without success. Andronicus forced Aleixo to sign the order for his mother's execution. Then, according to Nicetas, Mary was strangled by Constantine Tripsicus and the eunuch Tyriogenite and buried in a mass grave on a nearby beach. Probably due to the secrecy surrounding the murder, alternative versions of her death circulated, such as that she was tied up in a bag and drowned. Andronicus had himself crowned co-emperor, which saved Aleixo II only for a brief period, as he was soon killed and Andronicus took control of the empire. Some time later, the new emperor destroyed or mutilated most of the images of Mary in Constantinople. Family and descent. From the marriage of Mary of Poitiers, Princess of Antioch with Emperor Manuel I Comnenos, my 28th grandfather, for times my grandfather, were born. Alexio II Comnenos, Emperor of Constantinople, married Agnes, Princess of France. Eudoxia Comnena, Princess of Constantinople, married William VIII, Lord of Montpellier, my 27th grandparents, for times my grandparents.